And we're live.
Oh,
Shit, that's not Josh Bridges. Look, I just made Sousa go away. Damn it. I already screwed the show up. Good morning. Where is Josh Bridges? I sent him a link. Maybe this is just a really, really, really bad joke he's playing on me. Earlier this week, Josh posted a picture of on his Instagram. Maybe it was even yesterday. I got a shitload of DMs about it. People who are actually concerned about Josh's safety. Which camera am I supposed to be looking at? Is that this one? Nope. Damn, wrong way. And Josh said that it looked like he was making an implication that he's going to fight Jason Khalipa. Did you guys see that? When you see your next boxing opponent, you never back down, no matter how big. Look him straight in the eyes. I can't. Is that a joke? Is that for real? Oh boy, why not go all the way and throw in some groundwork? Maybe a MMA fight. Oh, and look at all the replies. Are they going to fight? Originally, when Josh was going to fight Hebner, I suggested Khalipa, and people were making fun of me like he's just way too big. He's just way too big. But I don't know. I mean, he's big. I saw Khalipa at a jiu-jitsu tournament last week, just randomly, and I took a picture with him. But what I find most fascinating about this picture is look at Khalipa's shorts. I have a look at go to his crotch. What the fuck is in Khalipa's pants right there? I know. I act like I'm in the 6th grade. What is Khalipa packing? Anyway, I asked Josh if look how tight Josh's shorts are versus Khalipa's shorts. I bet you Khalipa, if he put on those shorts that Josh is wearing, we'd have a better idea of what Khalipa has in his pants. But that's that's either some really, really fortunate folds or Khalipa is extremely gifted. Okay, Josh, where are you? We're 2 minutes into the show. He saw Josh's stash and got a little happy. It's fair. It's a fair assessment. We're going to throw a phone number up onto the screen this show so that people can call in. Hey, Josh.
Hi, pal.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can. Hey, was our text exchange yesterday? Was there like tension in it?
Hold on. Let me get these things on.
Matt, could you fix his you're a boss.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I don't know if the sound's better. I mean, I was just your Instagram was all fucked up. Can we give Josh capital letters?
At Bridges J3. Oh, got it.
Don't worry, let Matt do that.
I will. Dude, that's so cool.
You're in your new house.
I am. I know.
Oh, Matt, we got to take down that Sevan podcast logo. This isn't the Sevan podcast.
That's not. Yeah. Whoa.
Hey, we're just.
I know your style.
This is on the Josh and Sevan YouTube channel. Just so you know, let's not get it. But that was just some residual from that other show I do.
I got you. Yeah, just touching. Just touching it, putting feelers out there.
There's two kinds of people. There's people like Josh. When their dog dies, they need a little time. And my idea is when you drop off the dead dog at the pound, you just pick up another one. And so I wanted to have Rich Froning on this show, but Josh, no, he's not so much like that. He wants a little space. He wants to know what it's like not to have to get up at 6 a.m. and pick up poop all the. He wants some time. I know it's a horrible glare, buddy.
I know, man. What is that? Is it better?
It's a premonition. It's a ghost. But anyway, so we didn't pick up because Josh wears the pants in this relationship the same way my wife doesn't wears the pants in my relationship.
Fact.
And she didn't let me get a new dog when our dog died. We're it's just us.
It's just me and you, pal. Just me and you.
We didn't fetch a new dog. I mean, I wouldn't have got something as big this time, or maybe even something bigger. Who knows?
Something is big.
Yeah, when you have 3 Great Danes and they all die, you maybe want to switch to a Chihuahua or something just to lighten the load.
I like it. I like your style. Okay. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. We'll bring people on. I think that I'm okay with just looking at your stupid face for a little bit.
You guys, I asked Josh. I was like, "Oh my!" Well, I didn't ask. I go, "I'm so excited. We can leverage your massive Instagram account and your background in the Navy, and we could get some like really good guests." And you know what Josh says to me? 60-40, 60-40.
That's right, baby. That's right. That's right. Let's not get twisted.
Oh my goodness.
That's what's gonna happen.
Is that your podcast room right there?
It's my office. I don't need an office for anything other than podcasting. So
If I sent you a link to, can you see? Do you see these foams right here?
no.
It's just black.
Yeah. Okay.
They're like 12 by 12 stickers, and they're kind of like beveled, and they're just made of foam. I'll send you a link on Amazon, and if you want to get some, you can put them back there, and it'll make your voice sound a little deeper.
Oh, a little deeper. Okay. I like.
Yeah.
It.
And
I need something to put on this to bring the microphone up a little bit. I'm so tall.
And you could spell out with the foam, Good Dudes Coffee.
There we go. You know, where's not the glare? There we go.
Black Friday sale.
Yeah, it was going good. It's mostly on. Oh, there we go. Look at this. I like it. Good dudes. You guys are good dudes.
We are.
We have so much to talk about. I feel like it's been so long since we've had a podcast.
I drink Good Dudes during every podcast. Do you know that even when I do a podcast like at 8 or at 9 at night, I do drink Good Dudes?
I don't know how you do that. Do you sleep?
I do sleep.
Man, do you take something to sleep, or do you just go to sleep?
I just have this one particular this activity I do, this regiment. It's like a
every night.
Yeah, every night. It's my sleep protocol.
That's good, man. Hey, it's a good protocol. I'm proud of you.
Basically, it just winds me down.
You can still do that every night? I don't believe it.
What you mean with this gray beard?
I don't believe it for a second.
Are you fighting Jason Kleep or what?
I will.
You would?
I don't know. He's so big. And he wants to do MMA, and I'm like, oh man, I've never done jiu-jitsu. I've obviously wrestled and boxed, but yeah.
Hey, it's working for Nicky Rod. It's working for Nick Rodriguez.
He's so big. I told him, dude, I was like, where this all came about was, at the Rogue Invitational, we're sitting there grabbing lunch, and I was like, dude, so many people kept saying you should fight Jason Kleep, and I'm like, do you not know how big this guy is? I mean, he weighs, I'm going to bet, he probably says he weighs less than he does, but I would have bet he weighs 225 easily. He's so thick.
Yeah, he is very thick.
Yeah.
But I did see him last week at a jiu-jitsu tournament, and his face is chiseled as a mofo. Like his cheeks even go in a little bit.
Yeah, he's definitely in shape. And he seems like he's training. I can't remember what belt he is. Did you see?
He's purple.
Purple belt, yeah. I mean, which is really, really good.
He was a CrossFit Games champion, so like he takes shit serious.
Right, exactly. He doesn't fuck around. No, you should see him at the Rogue Invitational where it was very low stress. We did partner workouts, right? So on the legend side of it, we did partner workouts. So it was very low stress,
which is code for people that Bill and Katie like.
Whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
I know. I think the people that they brought back are true legends of the sport. I don't think they're.
Oh no, not legends of the sport. Legends in the rankings of how many T-shirts they sold for Rogue. That's what.
No,
I think you.
No, hell no. I don't. Not all those people are even Rogue athletes.
All right. Don't ruin my story.
Yeah, your story sounds made up. It's fake news.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're doing the Rogue Legends, and every day there was only one event a day, and every day you switch to your workout, who you were working out with, right? So they just paired you up with other legends, and me and Jason are on the first day. It was me and Jason paired up, and he's like calling me at night, like, "So what's our strategy for this workout?" I'm like, "Jason, it doesn't matter, man.
Jason,
like,
lose my phone number. Lose my phone number."
I'm like, we're gonna go out there and we're just gonna have fun, dude, and like. You'll go and I'll go and it'll be just fine. Whatever happens. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wanted to win, but it was still like,
How'd you do?
Me and Jason took second to Rich and Miko. I can't remember Rich and somebody on the first workout. And then me and Margot won the second workout. And then,
wow.
And then me and Josh Everett took second to, who was it?
So you did good.
Yeah, we did pretty good. Oh, Dan and Miko Miko did really good.
Yeah.
I don't know what he did on the second one, but yeah, he crushed it.
I guarantee you he didn't take it lightly.
He probably took second. I think he took second on the second. So he went first, second, first.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you get a chance to talk to him?
Yeah, I talked to all the legends. It was great. Like, it was so chill. We were just all like hanging out in the back, and the venue was super cool. It was a baseball field in Austin, and it was just really well done. It was yeah, like Rogue. Obviously, Bill and Katie never do anything less than the best. So it was really cool. It was a cool event, and yeah, getting to chat with Miko was really fun. Such a
how's his English?
It's really good. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, probably better than mine.
I want to have him on the podcast. I mean, he was, when I interviewed him in 2008, he was great, but it's measured. But I want to have him on the podcast, and he said he'd do it. I know he doesn't want to do it. He's not a talker, right? I know he's just doing it just for
I don't know, man. I feel like when he was real chatty.
He was?
Yeah, super chatty when we were there. I love Miko. I've always loved Miko. I mean, I remember I've been doing the sport for, I've been on the scene forever, and before I could compete in 2011. I mean, I was doing CrossFit since 2005. So like, I loved watching like guys like Miko. This guy, everyone just talked about how big his engine was and how badass he was. And I always wanted the chance to compete against him. And in 11, he got injured right on the first event.
And you won that event, right?
Yeah.
Or second. You won?
I won the event. Yeah. And, but yeah, it was, he's such a good dude. And then he was always behind the scenes he was coaching, Janikowski for a little while. And so he's always back there, and such a good dude. And I just loved I always gave him shit, and he would, he's a good sport.
How did you beat, let's take this call. And then I want to know, how did you beat Spieler? And, this isn't a good sign. Hold on, caller. Oh shit. Did I just hang up on the caller?
Way to go, pal.
Hold on. You got to wait. I went traveling, Josh. I went to LA. Fuck, that was,
man, how was that?
It was terrible? Fucking horrible. And so I had to disconnect my phone. Roadcaster Pro connected. Let me see if I can connect this. I disconnected my phone with this phone line because I was going to do a live call-in show from there. But I had some technical issues.
Look at you, just even on your travels, you're willing to.
Dude, I'm a podcast.
You're a podcasting freak, huh? You trying to be the next Joe Rogan?
I am the next Joe Rogan. Robert Woods, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear him, Josh?
I can hear him. Hey, what's up, Robert?
Hey, Josh. How's it going?
Good, brother. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Glad you guys are back.
2/3 of us.
That's right.
Yeah. I quick question on that. Obviously, it's an elephant in the room, right? Obviously, nobody wants to bring any drama or anything like that, but was the decision tough for you guys to want to come back and do this, and knowing that obviously people are going to tune in right away to see, are they going to be messy about it? Maybe, I am just curious, what was the decision to try to bring it back? And obviously the channel was the 3 of you, and now it's only 2.
Do you want me to answer, or do you want to answer, Sevan?
He doesn't give a fuck what I think. You
I think
I'm not ready to tell the truth. I'm hoping Matt comes back.
Yeah, you never. I like it.
Fair enough.
No, man, I think Matt's a busy guy, and I think that he's got a lot of stuff going on, and it was just hard to coordinate with 3 people. And I'm sure there were things that were whatever maybe had that he didn't like or whatever. And it is what it is, man. Like some people, he's moving on. Matt doesn't need this podcast, and it was fun while it lasted. I had a great time while we got to. What did we get to? 23 episodes? 22?
This is 23.
This is 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, I had a great time, and it was fun, and it was a cool experience. And maybe he'll come back on, and we'll have fun. But until then, me and Sevan we can chat it up and maybe bring guests on or bring a third person on. Who knows?
Sarah Sigmund's daughter. I had her on the show the other day. She would be fucking awesome on here too.
Yeah,
What
Oh, the three of you would be magic. You, Sarah, I mean, yeah.
Sarah's great. I love every time I see Sarah, she's so awesome. So
and she
great
parties,
speaker.
man. She'll talk about anything. She parties.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, dude, she's awesome. That podcast is almost 3 hours I did with her. We talked about everything.
Dang.
From dick pics to injuries. I mean, it was so speaking of dick pics, Robert, can you see the screen right now, Robert?
Yes, I can. I have it on my
Matt,
TV.
can you bring up that picture? Is it possible to bring up that picture of Jason again? I brought it up right before you came on, Josh. I'm wondering what you and Robert, especially with a name like Robert Wood.
Woods with an S, but same thing.
Okay, yeah. What is going on here in Khalipa's? What is that in Khalipa's shorts right there?
I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, I have a guess. It looks like an upside down penis.
Are you drooling?
It's like just pointed straight up. It's like one of those ones in the morning, like it just wants to breach the waistband. You know what I mean? Like you're a sophomore in high school, you're sitting in class and you just got a wood and you don't know why, and it just looks like it's about to breach the waistband.
Oh no!
So Khalipa's like going through reverse aging, is what we call this, right? It's prepubescent wood at this point.
It's one of those, yeah, I guess. But let me tell you, if Sarah was on the show, she wouldn't be like Josh. She'd have an opinion about it.
This is true.
What am I supposed to talk about some other dudes wang for, bro?
Yeah,
come on,
yeah. You could just be like, Sevan, don't be so juvenile. It's just the lighting.
Yeah, whatever.
Who
am I to stop you talking about some other dude's wing?
You're a good dude.
I know, right?
Yes, Robert.
Josh, I got a question. Yeah, I got a question for you, Josh. So, I'm a huge fan of MMA, boxing. I did college football, so I love adversity in terms of that style of combat. What was the one thing that you took away from your journey into boxing? I just real quickly, like I got into CrossFit in 2018, so I was a little late to the party, and it was fascinating to see that world in terms of the mentality that you guys have. Day in and day out, the training is grueling, is gruesome. I think when people see the CrossFit Games, they don't truly understand the work that goes into that. And on the other side of that, going to something like boxing, the sweet science, the amount of hours that you have to put into work, I'm sure you can have a better sense of anybody what it's like to translate all of that hard work into an entirely different realm. What was that journey like for you? And is that something that you feel you want to continue? Or was this like, okay, I did it. I tried that. I want to move on to something else.
It was a very, very amazing experience. Every aspect of it. That was one of my favorite things about it, was learning something brand new at like such a, in boxing world, like such an old age, right? I mean, I was 38 years old, learning how to box. And man, it was a very eye-opening experience, to the sense that it is so much more technical and so much more cardio based than I ever imagined. And but I mean, it was so much fun. I loved it. I love the challenge of it. I love the aspect of it where it was just me and Jacob in the ring fighting toe to toe. No, I couldn't rely on anybody else other than my coaches to tell me, like give me pointers, but it was just me and him in the arena. And it wasn't me versus myself. It was me versus Jacob. It was, which is, in CrossFit, it very much is you versus yourself, right? You put the best version of yourself out on the floor, and the cards are going to fall how they fall, because if someone next to you just has better, whatever, rope climbs, or he can lift more, they're going to win. It doesn't matter. In boxing, like it was just so different. And the amount of work that it does take, I mean, I wouldn't say I was very good at all. I just, I didn't take it lightly though. And I went in and I was training twice a day, every day, for it. And, as often as my coaches would allow me to come in. And, man, it was such a cool experience. And, it was cool to put myself out there like that. Another thing, so many people just wouldn't take it because they were scared to look stupid or get knocked out or whatever. And it was like, I don't get me wrong. Like I had those fears as well. I mean, Who Wants to Get Knocked Out in front of however many people watched it. And it's on YouTube forever. So it's not like it was going to go away.
And it's Jacob Heppner. And it's
Jacob Heppner, who's like,
he has a corgi. He has a fucking, who got knocked out by a guy with a corgi.
Yeah, he's got a corgi, and he's like, he's the nicest guy, but he's such a nerd, and I love it. It was hilarious, like hanging out with him for the week or 9 days in Dubai or whatever it was. It was such a cool experience.
Yeah.
He's a great dude, and but he is a nerd, and he'll tell you he's a nerd. And,
he is a great dude.
But getting knocked out by him would have sucked. But but man, it was so much fun, and yeah, it was a sport. I remember thinking about halfway through it, like, man, like this would be a really tough sport to make your living on, because no matter how good you are, you're going to get punched. And I remember just leaving every day and thinking, man, my body doesn't hurt anymore. This feels so good. Like CrossFit every day, my body hurt. Like 100 didn't matter. 99% of the time, didn't matter what I was doing. Like your body's going to hurt because you're lifting weights or whatever. You're crushing yourself. Leaving boxing, my joints felt so much better, but my face hurt a lot. Like every time, because like any sparring session, any training session, you're going to get hit. And so, yeah, it was different, but it was awesome. And I would do it again if the right opportunity came about. But I would definitely, I'm, something we're talking about is just kind of going and finding cool opportunities to try different shit. So I'm definitely up for anything right now.
I love it. Yeah, definitely get your money. Sevan, I got a real quick question for you as well.
Yes.
On the heels of that, because I do feel there's a parallel. I'm an artist. I make music, and I feel like this is I used to, for some reason, Instagram has like completely erased you. So I used to follow you on Instagram, and it no longer allows that. And so that's why I have this question for you. As someone who's been in media for quite a bit of time, decades now, especially covering the sport of CrossFit, now transversing over to podcasting, what are some challenges that you feel you have faced in terms of now being able to voice your opinion to a multitude of people, a multitude of platforms? What are some of the benefits that you feel you've had from that? What are some negatives, some drawbacks? Is there anything that you would do differently in either realm now that you've worked behind the camera and now really in front?
I'm kind of going to not answer your question, but take opportunity just to answer it the way I want. And I'm sorry. And if that pisses you off, then you can ask me again. But one thing with the Matt thing, by the way, Matt and I did talk on the phone. He called me, or I called him. I can't remember. And basically he told me why he's not doing the podcast. And he said 99% of the reason was this and 1% of the reason was that. And it was just all I heard when he was talking really was wah, 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 because inside I was like crying, like my girlfriend just broke up with me. You know what I mean? Like if your parents tell you like, hey, you're grounded, and like you just all of a sudden you just stop listening. It was kind of like that. I'm kind of joking and kind of half not joking. And when I shared with my friend, some people who were like really close to me, the reason, what he said, what I thought I heard, I don't think it was the exact reason. I don't know why he stopped doing the podcast. I don't necessarily agree with, I don't think it was a time constraint. Matt does what Matt wants to do. But I am extremely, self-indulgent, narcissistic, and self-engrossed. So I think it's all my fault, right? Like my ego says what I did something, and it sure as fuck wasn't Josh.
You sure as fuck did. It wasn't me, 100%. Everyone knows that.
So I don't believe it was Josh.
I think we all know this. Everyone knows that.
I don't believe it was Josh, and I don't believe it was a time constraint. I think that, and I also think just from knowing Matt that is the circle of his relationships. That very few people, like Matt is like Halley's Comet. He orbits shit every 86 years. So maybe he'll come back, maybe. Okay. And then going to your other thing. So basically what happened is, and I only learned this, Greg Glassman used to walk around and say, holy fuck, what the greatest job in the world, because all we do is speak the truth. And when you speak the truth, you can, it's fucking crazy how liberating it is. Because no one, like, you can't even explain it until you're there in that spot. Because like if the whole world says 2 + 2 is 5 and I'm saying 2 + 2 is 4, and I really know that, you can say whatever you want at that point. Like you can, as long as you don't stray. So with the podcast, I'm just having a blast, mostly because my art now is to just make sure, and I'm prone to hyperbole for sure, exaggeration for sure. And I love drama. Like fuck, I love a good story. Like fuck, I would love it if Matt would just like do an interview and talk about what an asshole I am. That would fucking anyone just open up a fucking can of worms and let's have some drama. But that's why I wanted to have Rich on, like just right away on the show and just change the name of the show just so everyone would be like, oh my God, you know what I mean? How exciting would that be?
Absolutely.
That, would have just been just fucking hilarious.
You're such a little high school girl.
That's correct. But I'm just feel so free right now. That's basically what's going on. I just have a couple things that I'm really interested in. The fact I really, really believe to my core that eating added sugar and eating refined carbohydrates is pretty much the source of all the problems we're having, from people not being able to think clearly on racism, to people having dementia, to people dying from unnecessary, diseases. I think that's a really safe place for me to land. And then also there are some insights I just have on how the mechanism of the brain works. Just simple shit you learn in kindergarten, that if you're calling someone a name, you have 4 fingers pointed. For every finger I have pointed at Josh, I have 4 fingers pointed back at me. So when I say Josh is short, there's 4 fingers pointed back at me saying you're shorter. And like, I know that. And it's once you know that, I'm just having a blast. I'm having a blast with it. And I make a couple bucks from YouTube and the following's growing. And it's like someone said to me someone said to me just yesterday, they're like, holy shit. Can you imagine if so-and-so lost their Instagram account, they'd be fucked. And they'd be like, and then they said, and this truth is for you too, Sevan, you'd be fucked. And I go, what are you talking about? I have 93,000 followers. I post something and 6 hours later, it has 8 views. I don't make a fucking dime on my Instagram account. I can't believe they haven't canceled my shit. I would be sad if I got kicked off of YouTube. I'm really having fun, but also I'm not like some sort of artist who's like, man, I have to fucking create. This is like my outlet. If I make a little bit of money with some of the real estate shit that I got going on. It keeps me afloat, but my kids are everything to me. And I do this if there weren't listeners, I wouldn't do this. I'm not like a purist. Don't get me wrong.
You do it for the fans, huh? Look at you, man.
No, not even for that. Just for the 30 bucks I make per video on YouTube.
You're a good dude.
But I enjoy it and I'm having a blast. And I do feel like it's an honor. My ego is titillated that I am friends with Josh, that I'm friends with Dave, that I'm friends with Matt Fraser, that Sarah Sigmund's daughter, my ego is stroked by all that. Like, and it's so easy to stroke my ego. Even Laura Horvath making fun of me on the show for 2 hours. I'm able to convert that.
Please bring Laura back. Please.
I know. Anyway, so I hope that answers your question.
I feel bad for Laura because I love Laura. I think she's awesome. And
she's abusive.
She's been like, every time I see her at the games, I chat her up and she's so cool. And like, but she gets no love at like any of the events. It's like,
she doesn't want love.
I think she does, but I think
she does.
But I think she takes on the chin really well and just keeps moving forward and just keep doing her. I mean, it was so cool that she came out like her rookie season and took second and then like fell off the face of the earth for a little bit. And now she's back and she took second again, right? Am I wrong?
Maybe. Hey, Robert, I gotta let this caller in because it's a woman, and I'm sexist, and I believe in ladies first.
Always.
Fair enough. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Robert.
Yeah, I've been trolling Laura, Josh, like a mofo. Ever since she don't like me, so now I just troll the shit.
Oh, she doesn't like you?
Well, I don't know. I can't tell. But she was on the show, and it was combative. It
really?
Was
oh, you guys went back and forth. Maybe she just doesn't take your shit.
Yeah, it's probably it. Maria, hi.
Hello?
Oh, shit.
This is Mike.
He tricked you.
I don't know where Maria came from.
All right, fine. I know your ex-girlfriend, your phone's still in your ex-girlfriend's name.
What's up, Mike?
No, I'm calling from the terrible state of New York. I just wanted to give a call in. Happy you guys are coming back. And I just had a quick question. I know you were playing around with the carnivore diet. I wanted to know if you were still doing that, how it went, and if Josh would ever consider it.
Josh and I are both friends with the Liver King. I think Josh is definitely intrigued by just putting a big old set of balls in his mouth and just eating them raw.
I put it out there. I did it. I didn't care. They were the worst part about it is I like the taste of them. They taste good. They were sweet. They were really sweet.
It's not how bad they tasted; it's how much I liked it.
That was the worst part about it.
What do you?
And
would you do
Sevan,
carnivore? Would you dabble in carnivore, Josh, or have you been?
I would. I have not. I have not. No. I would. I think I would. If I saw some sort of. If I felt like I needed it. I don't know if I need it to do it. And. But I do. I eat a lot of liver. Now I'm eating it like probably every 2 or 3 days. I eat 4 ounces of liver. I don't eat it raw.
And do you do the maple syrup on it or no?
I don't do it because I don't do it raw yet because I don't know if the liver I have is good enough to eat raw. Because I'm buying it at like a Sprouts, it's not like I'm not getting it from a source where I know like, oh yeah, like this is liver good enough to eat raw. I just don't know. And I'm not that intelligent yet. And so, but I am doing that.
Wait, you eat that when you cook it, don't you just want to throw up from the smell?
It's not the tastiest meat, but I'm very much like, I am not a picky eater whatsoever. I know that food is a fuel. And so like, I literally just like I can eat just about anything. I'm not worried about taste too much. So I'll just chop it up and I'll literally eat it in about like 5 seconds, the whole liver, whatever, however, the 4 ounces of it. But I've thought about doing the carnivore diet. I just haven't done it yet. I haven't pulled the trigger on giving it a shot for like 2 weeks or something. I love sweet potatoes. I love oatmeal in the morning. I do raw eggs now. So I eat the raw eggs every morning. It's a lot faster. This dude's a nut. He's such a nut.
Wait a second. You're doing raw eggs, huh, Josh?
Yeah. I eat raw eggs. The first time I did it, it upset my stomach for a good like 2 hours. But after that, like now it's perfectly fine.
So you crack an egg into a cup? 4
of them. Yeah, I do 4 every morning with my oatmeal.
And you just drink them in?
Yeah, and it's nice. It just like makes everything faster. Like my breakfast is done so much quicker.
So so if I were to start doing that, I'd start with 1 egg. You started with 4?
Yeah, I started with 4, and it definitely upset my stomach right off the bat the first time. And after that, though, I was fine.
Oh, dude!
You gonna try it? You gonna give it a shot? It doesn't taste bad. It doesn't taste like anything. Like it almost tastes like an oyster. Like it's just like quick and easy and whatever.
And Sevan, are you still doing the diet or no?
I'm pretty strict to it. It's funny you say that. Like at Thanksgiving, there was a bunch of turkey. I'm trying to think if there was a bunch of stuffing there. I don't know. I'm sure there was bread in that. I ate that. But then afterwards they served dessert and I cut myself off a brownie and I went to go eat it. And the fork it was like it hit like a barrier. I just wouldn't eat it. It was so crazy. I didn't eat the brownie and it wasn't even like I wasn't even a fight. I was just like, why? I just don't want to eat this. Why would I do that to myself?
You really didn't eat any desserts? No dessert. Not dessert.
One. Nope.
Neither did I.
It was crazy. It was so easy.
I ate a lot of dessert. I ate a lot of pumpkin pies.
Are you doing all beef or are you doing just any animal product?
I'll do any animal products pretty much. I would like to get a little more serious about my diet again. To tell you the truth, I was doing carnivore for, I don't know, like 6 months, more or less. And shit started getting weird. Then I started taking those supplements that the Liver King and Paul Saladino sell. And shit got a lot better. And actually within hours, shit got better. And what I mean is like my hands were cold, my feet were cold, my heart would do some weird pounding. And it got better. And then I slowly just started getting sloppy and eating more and more stuff, and by sloppy, I mean like a tablespoon of peanut butter and a big glass of milk. You know what I mean? Just like,
and that's not considered, peanut butter is not allowed.
I don't think so. I mean, not the way I was doing it. Or like I would have a heavy cream every night with a bowl of frozen berries, just every night. And I just started getting sloppy. I mean, relative just to these fucking piles of shit everywhere around me. No, I'm fucking I'm a man amongst boys, but
I don't know about that, pal.
Oh, dude. I was just in LA. I stayed at the Hilton at Universal Studios.
Oh yeah. You were in,
bro.
Yeah.
It's not like 5% of the people are sick or 10% or 50%. It's 99% of the people are all sick. Yeah. Like just crazy.
Well,
like
and those scenarios,
crazy.
Like that's like being on a cruise,
Yeah.
Like, you just see Yeah, it's not good.
Thousands of people in this hotel fucking that I saw over the fucking 3 days I was there. It's a 25 story hotel. Everyone masked, vaccine checkpoints everywhere. And my family and I just no mask, nothing. Kids walking around barefoot, just cruise right by. But everyone's like terrified. And I get it. I would be terrified too. Everyone looks like a walk. I mean, I've never seen that. Yeah, it's a cruise ship. It's like the buffet at a cruise ship. And I'm not exaggerating, by the way. I'm not talking. There's like 1 in 100. You'd be like, oh, look, there's someone who like weighs 160 pounds, not 260. It was nuts. It's really it's eye opening when I leave my little bubble, and then I get what's going on. But all right, Maria, thank you.
Well, I appreciate you guys putting up the call-ins now. It seems like it's going to be a party now.
Heck yeah, let's do it. Thanks for calling, Mike.
All right.
Oh, that's a good point, Haley. That is a good fucking point. My wife just sent me a text and she said Josh thought garlic was potatoes. Remember when you were at my house and we had garlic pizza and there were big chunks of garlic on there and you thought they were little potatoes? He's from fucking Illinois. Good point, babe. Yeah, he can't be trustworthy.
What are you talking about? So what's the point of there? What's the point?
It's like you don't know food. You don't know like raw eggs or eating testicles or like no one should take dietary advice from you. You're like,
oh, really?
You're uncultured. You're uncultured.
No one should take diet advice from me, but they should take it from you.
No, she shouldn't take it from me either.
Okay, pal.
James Stubbs, you're on with me and Josh Bridges.
Man, this is awesome. Hey, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Hey, you too. Thanks for calling, James.
Yeah, James, you sound like that. You know that dog? You know that cartoon with that dog, and he just moves really slow. And he's got. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Does he talk?
He talks, and he just talks really slow, and he does everything really, really slow. He's like a beagle, and he's like black and white. I think maybe he's white with like a black eye.
God. Oh, what show is this?
But you sounded like him. I mean, I'm 49, so it's a cartoon from 40 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But you just, man, you're chill, dude. Are you on fentanyl or anything?
No,
you are mellow. I just felt like my heart rate just slowed down 20 beats when you call.
I have a 4-month-old and a crazy 2-year-old. Maybe that has something to do with it. They chilled me out a lot.
Yeah,
you are
sure
relaxed.
Does.
But hey, so question for Josh. What's I just started watching a live show probably 5 minutes ago, so excuse me if you already answered. But what's next, man? What's next on the agenda?
There you go. There it is. That's a good question right now. Just kind of focusing on the businesses, on Good Dudes and my programming, that kind of stuff right now. But definitely up for something cool. So we'll see if it's doing MMA against Jason Khalipa or finding another boxing fight, or I don't know, maybe taking Scott Stallings on in a golf match, something like that. I don't know, whatever. I'm up for anything. I'm excited. There's so much to do out there, and we're just trying to. I just want to find something that I like and want to dive into head first for 6 months to a year. So if anybody's got any ideas, hit me up.
What about the camp you're doing, Josh?
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, we just launched this, and so we're gonna start doing work. Basically, we're gonna call them pay him training events with Josh Bridges. We're gonna do them, I think, once. We're gonna see how the first one goes, but and we're actually doing them at my old house in San Diego, and so we can't have a ton of people at it. It'll be cool. It'll actually be like a super small, like more intimate situation where it's like 20 people, 25 people at the max in the garage in San Diego, and just and then we'll go out to the beach, and we'll go do the things that the trails I used to run and all that kind of stuff that I trained for my SEAL training and for CrossFit. So it's going to be a good time, and we're having one in January 28th. We just launched the event. It's just went live. So
yeah, congratulations. How are they going to sleep at your house?
No, that's not big enough to sleep 20, 25 people. So you have to get your own hotel, but we'll be training in that garage right there.
Shoot, put them in tents outside. That'll be part of it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But we're definitely we're gonna go to the beach on the and do a little Bud style beatdown, Navy SEAL style beatdown, and do some trail running and rucking and good old garage gym workouts.
Very cool. Hey, when are you going to do a MTV Cribs of your new house?
Whenever we have a YouTube guy, a video guy coming, he's gonna start coming next week, I believe. So I don't know if I'll do a full tour of the house, but I'll show the garage, the gyms. There's a basement gym and a garage gym. So I love it out here. I'm enjoying Denver. Denver's a cool town. It's really spread out compared to San Diego. That's the only thing I had to get used to is driving. Everything is 25 minutes away. Everything is at least 25 minutes away. So, but less people, the views from my house are ridiculous of the mountains. It's
beautiful.
It's a cool spot.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to show your torture chamber on YouTube or anything.
The place I bring, Sevan and waterboard.
Do you have jiu-jitsu mat? Do you have mats anywhere down, Josh, yet?
No, I don't. I used to have.
But you need them for your kids, right?
Yeah, but they technically neither of them are wrestling anymore. Actually, my oldest is playing basketball and he's loving it. He's thriving in it. Actually, I'm really enjoying watching his basketball. And so it kind of broke my heart. You know, a wrestling dad, his son giving up on wrestling and going to basketball. It couldn't be any worse of a scenario, right?
Basketball's dope, though.
But it is cool. It is. It's been so much fun to watch him do it. And he's like out there, like little court commander, a little point guard. Shortest guy, but he's like got the most heart, and it's really cool to see. And he's thriving, and I'm loving watching it.
Hey, here's a little different question, just over kids. So, I want to get y'all's input in it. So, for me, like I ran track, I played basketball, which I'm 5'9", right? So, kind of same thing for me.
Shorty.
Yeah, I know it wasn't going to be a star, but I always try to work harder than anyone else. But I played I don't know if I said football, basketball, track. And that
what
was
did you do in
always,
track? Sorry, what did you do in track?
I did 110 hurdles. I did pole vaulting.
Oh, damn. You're a beast.
And which was funny, quick story on pole vaulting. They were making fun of me because I was shorter when I was doing it, right? And a lot of the guys, they were kind of tall and lanky. And when I actually went, I didn't do great, but it was kind of the same thing, right? As like everyone making fun of you, and they're like, "No, you're not going to be good at this." And I actually did okay, so they let me do pole vaulting, which was a blast. But
what was your frame looking like? 5'9", what?
Let's see. In school, I was 5'9". I started working out like heavily my junior year, and I actually went from weighing about 147 to 165. I gained about 20 pounds over a summer. Everyone said I was on steroids and all that.
Oh, so you were thin. Stuff. You were 5'9", 145. You were thin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very thin. But then my junior year in high school, I was 165, and there was like no fat on me, of course.
What is the average height of a pole vaulter? Is there a pole vaulter's body?
I was just gonna say the same thing. I was just gonna ask that same question. I have no idea.
Pole vaulters average body, like the average tennis player in the top 500 in the world is 6'1" if you're a man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I would think like someone like Josh would kill the pole vault, just like little cannonball. He just throws himself over.
Well, I don't know. You would think it'd be more like about levers and stuff.
Yeah,
5'11" and a half. You're right. You're smarter than me.
Taller, yeah.
6 foot. Damn.
But so my question though. So now I have a torn labrum, not labia, torn labrum.
Thank you for the clarification. I get the two mixed up all the time.
Yeah, in my right shoulder from football. I cracked my collarbone. I had tore my a ligament in my knee, and now where I'm getting up to almost 30 years old, and I'm still super active, and I like. For instance, CrossFit. And anytime I do stuff, I want to compete in it. I'm just very competitive. So I did CrossFit for years, and I still do it. Not as much, but trying to do higher level competitions. But for instance, my snatch, I could only snatch so much because my shoulder would literally just fall out of place and be hurting for months, right? And then like my knee, so I started trying to run more, and now my knee is like, it'll start hurting, so on and so forth, right?
Josh gets it. I
have no idea what that's like.
And I can get through those things, but the thing is, all of those injuries came from football. And as much as like I would want my kids to do whatever they want, it's like, man, like looking back, I'm glad I had those experiences. But now, to me, it's like, man, was that worth it though? Because I still have so much life that I still want to be super active in, and I'm struggling through it. You know.
Oh, just wait till you're 40, buddy. Wait till you're 40.
But I just wanted to see what y'all's advice is. Like, I'm sure y'all probably y'all just let y'all's kids kind of choose what they want to do.
For being a dad.
I just sent Matt Fraser a link to the show, just randomly.
Nice, good dude. Yeah, for me, like I definitely just kind of like I'm not gonna. I'll kind of guide them what I think they could be good at, and what I obviously it's hard not to do the things that like you enjoyed as well or enjoy watching because it's probably something you're more interested in. But
right.
For my oldest son now, he wanted to play basketball, and like that was like for me it was like a dagger in the heart. But
why you said that twice now? Why though? Basketball's dope, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. It's really cool. But like wrestling and wrestlers, it's the same season, right? Wrestling and basketball is the same season. So if you're a basketball player, you can't wrestle. And so, yeah, like, but I'm to be honest, I'm so glad that he's doing it because it's so much fun to watch and he's thriving in it. And so like, just because it wasn't something that I enjoyed or I did as a kid or, whatever, it doesn't mean he's not going to be good at it. And so I'm just letting them be their own person. And I also think that like when you allow kids to dabble into all different sports, they just become a more well-rounded person, right? Or well-rounded athlete, which is the goal for, at least for me, if that's something they want to keep pursuing. But I also think that playing individual sports and team sports all have a great side to them, right? So individual sports, you build character, you build, discipline because it's all on you. And team sports, hey, it's learning how to work with others. And it's a really cool to see, like my oldest having to, even if his team isn't doing really well and he's having a bad game, right? Like him having to like go up to his teammates and like patting him on the back if they miss a shot. And like, it's just cool. There's so many good aspects to all different sports. So I think letting your kids dabble into all the sports and then deciding which route they want to go for their adulthood or whatever, like that, I think that's the best idea.
What about you, Sevan, and Avi and skateboarding? Does that scare the crap out of you sometimes?
Yeah. I sort of see, maybe this is just my arrogant self, but I sort of see skateboarding as, I think that like, if your kids, if you want to try something hard and be good at something and push the limits, you should do physics, as a science. You shouldn't do sociology. Sociology is the Coast Guard, right? And physics is wanting to be a SEAL, Special Forces. And the same thing with the music. Like if you want to play music and you want to go fucking hard, you do the violin. Like there's lessons in the violin. And if you're going to do a sport, you do, and you want it to be hard, you either do fighting or you do something like skateboarding. And skateboarding scary as shit to learn. It's a fucking crazy mental game. There's no gimmies. There's no fucking gimme. And to get better, you like the Avi Sevan and his coaches, one of his coaches is a professional skateboarder, and he goes, hey, he's reached this point. And I go, what point is that? He goes, now everything is mental. He can do everything and only he's stopping himself. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's scary because you can, like, one of my twins was just going by the butterfly bowl, which is like a 10-foot drop, and he just fell in and rolled in. And if he wouldn't have had a helmet on, he'd have been fucked. It would have been for sure a week in the hospital. He just cartwheeled and bounced off his head.
So the reason I asked you that is because I skateboarded from probably about 10 until I was, I skated a little bit in college, so probably I was 19, and some of my, because we didn't wear helmets. I mean, we didn't wear helmets when we did anything. And
yeah, it drives me crazy. Look, he's not wearing knee pads. Dude, I bought him a $150 custom pair of knee pads.
That's so impressive, man. That's crazy.
It's just not cool, man. It's not cool to wear knee pads,
It's not gonna be cool when I fucking tie him down in the house too. Don't let him play.
But I mean, I had times. I mean, it just is what it is. But where like I was doing a board slide down the rail when I was probably 16 and stopped and just slammed my head into the concrete.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. I've been at the skate park where kids have hit their head so hard. And it was actually the first time, one of the few times I ever felt like an adult. This kid banged his head on the concrete so hard. He's probably 12 years old. His parents were there and he starts screaming, "I can't see." And there's 20 other kids there. No one's going to check on him. So I just jump over the fence and I run down there and I pick him up and I drag him into the shade. And I was like, holy fuck, I guess I am an adult. I mean, I was going to start crying. I felt like I was his dad. Like it was my kid who was hurt.
Was he all right?
Yeah. After like 20 minutes, he fucking, I told all the other kids they couldn't skate at that end of the park while we were down there. And I was checking him out. And then eventually he got up and jumped. He did exactly what I would have done. As soon as he could, like if sometimes you swat a fly, and you think it's dead, and then you see it like wiggle its wings and flies away. As soon as he could see, he got on his bike and went home as fast as he could. I mean, he wanted to get home to mommy. I don't blame him.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, I got a question, Josh. When you say you're 38,
38.
and I'm 49, and a lot of people think that they're going to have kids and that they're going to like play with their kids for hours and hours. Mm-hmm. And like I quickly realized I can't do shit with my kids really. Like I go to the beach, I play Frisbee for an hour, and then like I got to sit down. Right?
Yeah.
Like I need to chill.
It is different, man. It's different like when you get older for sure. I realized that, or go ahead. Sorry, ask your question.
And you said you enjoy watching them play. And that's the part I feel like I get off so much on just watching my kids move, whether it's jump. Like when we went to the hotel, we went just to the lobby and they ran sprints on the stairs and jumped off of stairs. And I watched them for an hour and a half. And I'm just like, it's the greatest thing ever. I'm not doing shit.
Yeah, it's really fun.
But what do you like? What do you like about watching them play basketball? Like, what do you?
I like watching them grow as athletes, right? Like watching them grow and not as athletes so much, but as people. Like I watch my oldest son, and he, it's just impressive. Like because I watched his first game, and you could tell how nervous he was, and you could tell like you could see it in his play, and he wasn't, and it wasn't the greatest game, and he made a lot of errors, and then slowly, man, like every game, he was just like you could tell his confidence was growing, and so like. Not only do I care about that in sports, but I care about that him as a young man, and seeing that's so cool. And then just seeing like how he isn't an aggressive, like he's not an aggressive kid when it comes to like, he's not out there like trying to pick fights or like making hard fouls. Right. And when he does foul a kid, he'll like actually like pat him on the back and say sorry. And like, and make sure the kid's okay. If the kid like falls down, it's like, it's so cool to see that, that transition from just being a little kid who doesn't care, and then to being like, oh wow, he understands other kids' feelings, and like oh wow, like I don't want to hurt this kid's feelings. I just want to beat him at basketball. And so I love watching that. I love watching them grow as athletes and little men, really, especially because I mean that's the goal in life, right? Is to or as a parent is to watch your kid grow and become their own man and do their own, go off and do their own thing and be a good person. And so, or a good dude, as some might say. And so, that's my favorite thing about it. Watching them in sports is because we get to be the fly on the wall where like when they're just playing with their buddies, or off doing their own thing, like you're not there. You don't get to really watch that, right? Because they're running to the park to play basketball or taking the skateboards out and riding skateboards around the neighborhood. So you don't really see their interactions. Like when they're playing a sport, you get to watch that interaction. And that's what's cool about it.
The nervousness is nuts, right? When I see Avi at jiu-jitsu tournaments, I don't even recognize him. And then when the match is over, my son's back.
Right.
The hour before the match, I'm like, who? He's like he stuck his finger in an electric socket. His hair's on end. His eyes are all fucking buggy.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy fuck. He's having a fucking nervous breakdown, but he doesn't talk about it until afterwards. Like on the ride home, he'll be like, man, I was shaking like a leaf, or he'll say some shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are so cool to watch, by the way, because just looking at Avi, he just looks like the sweetest kid. And then once he like I've seen him look over at you, like, was that okay, Dad? And then he just like gets into it, and you can just tell he's concentrated, and he is trying to like get the moves that he's been training. That's super cool to see.
At these tournaments, there's no blonde haired kids. It's like, it's all basically just Latins. So like you go to San Jose, it's just all like, everyone just looks like they're from south of the border. It's like, you don't see any white people. You don't really see any black people. It's just like, and a lot of the dads like will have like teardrop tattoos and spider webs on their elbows, and there's like fucking 2,000 of them, right? And these super fucking hot moms who look like they just fell out of Lowrider magazine. It's crazy. It's such a fucking dope scene. I just love it. Yeah. And but everyone's so nice. You know what I mean? Like you're jiu-jitsu tournaments packed, someone bumps you so hard they'll like catch you and like hug you and be like, excuse me, you know, and like some fucked up, like beautiful Brazilian accent or something. Everyone's so cool. But twice now, parents have come up to me, you know, and recently a dad came up to me and he had like the neck tattoos and shit. And he's like, and Avi had gone undefeated in the tournament. And he goes, they don't look like killers, but they are killers. And I was like, oh, well, thank you, sir. I'm Sevan. But I was so proud inside. I'm just like tickled. But he works hard, man. It's 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Dude, those sports are character builders, man. Like those are sports where like Avi's he's gonna take so much out of that for the rest of his life because he's the only person out there. He's the only one who can decide if he's gonna maybe he gets whatever taken down, or I don't even really know jiu-jitsu like terminology at all, but you know, gets into a bad situation and starts losing. He's the only one who can be like, fuck this, I'm gonna beat this kid. I don't care how bad I'm like losing right now or whatever. Like I'm going to come back and I'm gonna go out there and try my best. Because I remember in times in wrestling matches when I was younger, like I'd have those matches where I was getting beat, and I remember ones where I broke and I gave up on myself and I was like, I quit. And then there was times where I was like, no, this kid isn't better than me. Like, I don't care. Like, oh, well, I got taken down. It is what it is. Like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to beat this kid. So I think that it's so cool that you have your young little stallions.
So rad. That's so rad.
And it seems like a lot of I went to, just to give you my experience in mixed martial arts, I went to like 4 or 5 classes when I was like 15 or 16, but I couldn't afford it. So I stopped. But it seems like in that sport, like you're saying, it's all about like determination and your willpower to not let someone do something to you or how much you want to do something to them. Because so like it was probably my second or third class. I didn't have anyone to roll with. And so they let one of the instructors roll with me. Well, I didn't know, and I'm just being like a
James. Is there nudity in this story?
Do you need there to be?
I want there to be. I'm like a 6-year-old just waiting.
Okay, all right. So we were naked, and no, we weren't naked. No, we weren't naked. Can't do it. But so the dude, I slam him. Like we're wrestling, and I slam him down, and he's like, "Hey, no slamming." And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean no slamming? And then he gets me in a triangle in like a second and starts trying to choke me out. And I'm like, you're not choking me out, man. And but I'm sitting there and I can't breathe. And he just keeps trying to choke me out until the instructor says we're done. And then I go in the back and throw up, but he never choked me out. And this is a dude that does, you know, he was probably 20-something years old and does competitions and everything else, and he couldn't choke me out just because I was like, no, this dude is not choking me out.
You're a good dude. Hey, James, we got callers just pouring in. Thank you.
All right, man.
Thanks for calling, James.
You were on the show so long, we're going to call it the Josh, Sevan, and Matt show.
James.
Love you, bye.
Man.
So what's it? So what are the parents like at basketball versus can I just have Josh to myself for 2 seconds?
Yeah,
guys, hold on. Oh, this guy is a great name.
Dude, that's a great question because I have a great story.
Yeah, tell me. So are the parents are they way nastier wrestling parents than?
Wrestling parents are way worse. But I did have a great interaction the other day. It was so amazing. So I'm there, and you know, like they're actually making. And this could be controversial. I don't really care. But I do.
I hope it is.
I know you do. You're a little schoolgirl. And so, they're actually forcing the kids to wear masks while they're playing basketball, which is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's so irritating for me. And some people take it very seriously, and others like myself, I tell my son, like, hey, pull that mask down as often as possible. Like, you should not be working out with that thing on. That's insane. None of these kids should be. But anyways, this one dad, he actually went.
So wait, paint this scene for me. You're in a gymnasium and it's during a game?
During a game. And I'm in the gymnasium. Like, the game is going on.
And how old's your son? How old are these
11.
kids?
He's 11. They're 11.
Okay.
They're in 6th grade.
Okay.
And this dad runs out on the court and runs out on the court and tells the referee to make sure that these kids have their masks up. And I walk in without a mask on. I don't have a mask on. And I, and I'm watching this and I'm just like, okay, this guy is, he's a little crazy. And as the game goes,
I love this story. Drag it out, please.
As the game goes on, this dad is like, I don't know. He was just kind of, I don't know why he decided to do what he did, but I'm a loud dad. I'm a loud dad, a kid's dad. And so, like, at the game, I'm like, Jack, like, people knew who my son was because I said his name a few times, and so they could probably tell. Well, Jack ends up falling out of the game, and the guy starts cheering. Him and his wife start cheering because Jack fouled out.
And he's a dad for the other team.
He's a dad for the other team. And I was like, I was like, I was almost confused at first. And I was like, and I was sitting 10 bleachers up from him. Like, he was right in front of me, like 10 bleachers up. And I was like, are you cheering because my son just fouled out? And like I said, Jack is not aggressive. He just doesn't know the sport that well. And so that's why his dad is. And so that's why exactly. Very aggressive. And so I literally started saying, like, are you cheering for my son because he just fouled out? Like, and like, he fouled out because he doesn't really know the rules as well. Or he touched a kid's arm. Like, basketball is a very, right. I would say soccer is the only thing worse when it comes to fouls, right? Like, you touch a guy in basketball and it's a foul. And so I got up and I was very, very angry at this point. Like, my blood was boiling, and I got up.
You were in fight or flight, and you had gotten rid of flight.
Yeah, there's no flight. I don't even know what that means. And so I stood up and I walked down about 5 bleachers, and I was standing there, and I was the only thing I was contemplating doing was just literally, like, sitting so close to him that our legs were touching because no one else was around him and his family. It was empty besides him there. And then I got about 5 bleachers down, and I stood there and I was like, Josh, you might get arrested. Is this worth it? Is this gonna show your kids the right thing?
Hey, I think example. It would be great for Good Dudes Coffee if you were on the cover of the paper. Yes.
So I stood there for a minute and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back up to my seat now.
What did he say when you said that to him? You said, "Are you cheering for my?"
They didn't even acknowledge it. He wouldn't acknowledge it, and
scared him.
He heard it.
Was he scared? Like, you scared him? You freaked him out?
He wouldn't look away. He wouldn't look up. And then, as the game ended, he quickly got up with his wife and, went to the other side of the gym very quickly. And actually a grandpa on his team was sitting pretty close to me. And he goes, man, that's not right. And he goes, that was messed up of him to do. And I was like, he's very lucky we're in this public setting right now, or this would have been a very different scenario. And the funny thing so the game was actually a really close game. It was, and by close game, I mean, both of these teams are very green. Not a lot of the kids you could tell played a lot of basketball. They were all pretty new.
Like, dudes shooting in the wrong hoop and shit.
That has happened. Yeah, for sure. And, but it was a close game. And so it was fun. It was intense. And his son was the one. So it was tied with like 15 seconds left. His son gets hit for like traveling or something and slams the ball down and gets hit with a technical foul. And our team scored one of the free throws and won the game because of it. So his son lost in the game because he was acting like a little shit. And it's like, oh,
like his dad,
exactly. It's like, I wonder where he gets it from. And it was, and then he falls down and literally threw a little temper tantrum on the court in the game. It was pretty embarrassing. And you're like, dude, look at the example you're setting, man. Like who? And you wonder why there's so many pieces of shit out there. It's because they're dads, man. Dads.
Do you know what's amazing about that is how different people think and operate. Some people think that you're teaching your kids compassion by having them wear a mask. I think you're killing your kids. I think you're being abusive. I had Nick Rodriguez on, the jiu-jitsu guy, and I said, "Hey, do you ever wear a mask?" He goes, "You know that if you want to kill someone, you cover their mouth and their nose, right? Like that's what I would do if I wanted to kill you."
Yeah.
I was like, all right, yeah, I guess you don't wear a mask. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's a little bit extreme, but yeah, I get what he's saying. I don't know. I just think playing sports, right? You're looking at these NBA players, you're looking at all these other professional sports. Why are you going to make an 11-year-old, wear a mask to play basketball? I think that's insane to me. I think that
insane,
absolutely insane. And whatever. I don't know. I thought it was.
I should have punched him out. 60-40.
That's right. Yeah.
60-40. Met Josh when I volunteered at the Rogue Invitational. Good dude. What's a good inexpensive coffee bean grinder?
I would just go on to. I appreciate that, Vincent, and I would just go on to Amazon and find any good burr grinder, and there's some pretty cheap ones on there. But as long as it's a burr grinder, and that's not a brand.
Burr.
BURR. That's not a brand. That is a type of grinder. And so like, as long as it's a burr grinder, that's the grinder you want. And so there's some pretty cheap ones on there that are like $40-$50. I don't know if that's cheap, but
funny that a guy named Samuel is calling.
So that's my dad's name. For some reason on my account, but my name's Mark Austin and it's hyphenated. So I've like one.
Hold on, let me write that down.
Thanks, Mark. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Good.
All right. So, Josh, I have a question. So you've been getting into boxing and everything lately, but with your wrestling background, have you ever thought about putting your hands into jiu-jitsu?
I did a little bit when I was overseas. A lot of team guys, a lot of SEALs would roll. That's the correct terminology, right? Rolling. That's what they call it. Yeah. See, I know a little bit. And so I'd go in there and I'd roll around with them a little bit. I don't know. For me, it felt, like in jiu-jitsu, right? You want to go to your back or whatever, or pull guard or whatever it's called. I don't, and so I was just like, this is that, like in wrestling, that's where I want you on your back. And so, it was a little, and I think at the time it was just for me, I was like, I just wasn't into it. I think now I could possibly get into it a little more. I just haven't taken the time to actually go to a gym or learn any of it. I mean, I love watching MMA and UFC, and I love any sort of combat sports. And so jiu-jitsu is awesome. I just haven't taken the time. And at the time when I did try it, I was just in a different mindset and I wasn't into it. And so there's definitely a possibility I could go give it a shot.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, they have so many different, like, I know you always didn't like the Masters for, like, CrossFit and stuff, but, like, the Masters in Jiu-Jitsu is, like, a completely different game because those dudes have been doing it for, like, 10 to 20 years. Like, they're black belts. And that, obviously, you go by your, like, what's your belt and everything. But, like, I think you do really well. Like, I've seen wrestlers, and I was a wrestler myself, but, like, and so going to your back, it's super awkward at first, but once you get past that, like, the sky's the fucking limit.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like, yeah, like I said, like I think it's a cool sport, and I think that there's a lot. I think wrestling could probably transition to it pretty well. I was asking Jason a lot about it, like, because I didn't even understand it, like, are there points, like how the point system worked and all that kind of stuff, and so it was really interesting. And
you should do no gi. You shouldn't fuck around with any of that.
No gi?
Like, you got to meet this dude, Nicky Rodriguez. Next time I have him on, I'm going to have you on. He was a wrestler. Within 8 weeks, he was sparring with the best dudes in the world in jiu-jitsu, and they couldn't stop him from taking his back.
That's crazy.
With Nicky Rodriguez, though, he's also like a whole different animal. Like, he's a one in a million
Josh.
kind of
So's
person.
Josh Samuel.
That's right. What are you saying? What are you saying, Sam?
He is. No. I'm not saying that you couldn't either. But I'm saying, like, Nicky Rodriguez, Josh Bridges, people like that. Those are the one in a million. So not every wrestler's going to be that, though. So for other listeners that are – so because I've seen some wrestlers, they completely freak out. They have the white belt spaz that literally just gets their neck taken because they just can't stop – because they can't get comfortable on the ground.
Yeah.
like being
That's
on their
a
back.
sick video right there.
That is
So
cool.
see that guy Josh is trying to pull guard on Nicky Rodriguez. He's like,
Yeah.
"Fuck you, I ain't going down there." And he talks about that too, about how
That's a-
hey, I'm
that's a
not playing
Russ-
that game.
That's a wrestling move right there too. That little that's like a new age wrestling move too, where they do these little spin over the tops like that. Like that's a thing these younger kids nowadays, like in the past I would say 5-7 years, that little kick over like that, man. These little stud wrestlers are doing all that, and it's so cool to watch.
He kicked over into a fucking rear naked choke.
Yeah, it's nasty. Damn, that
Fuck.
dude is legit.
Hey, in Avi's tournament, he put this kid in a rear naked choke in the first like 30 seconds and then couldn't fucking choke him out. So he held the dude in that position for another 2.5 minutes. And I felt so bad for the kid. I wanted to start crying for the kid and his parents. I was just like, it sucked.
That's crazy.
Sevan, have you started doing jiu-jitsu since you have your kids in it too?
No, I mean, I beat my kids up, but I don't do it myself. I think my back, I would break in half.
You gotta keep beating them up until you can't beat them up anymore, which is going to be happen pretty quick.
Yes.
Or you just set in so much trauma from beating them up as kids that like when they're adults are like, I could never take them down, even with everything that I have.
Yeah, maybe that is what I should do. Just beat them so severely they're always they already know my son's 7 and in tennis is getting really, the only reason why I have a chance is because I can move a little bit faster than him because I'm a grown man.
Yeah,
but man, he can hit the ball harder than like so hard that like I can't get it. It's
yeah, that's
bad.
funny. Well, it's really good talking to y'all. Thank you for the answer.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for calling in, Mark.
All right, bye.
Bye, Samuel.
It was Mark, right? His name was Mark. He say that.
I know, but his phone says Samuel, and I
Okay.
just like saying that name. Like showing that I have. Sarah fucked up her ACL. She had ACL surgery. Did you fuck up your ACL? And now it's 8 months later, and she's gonna get at it at Dubai. What are your thoughts on that, Josh?
I think nowadays ACL surgery is so progressive. It's so amazing to see what athletes can do. I've torn my ACL on my right knee, and I've torn my ACL on my left knee twice. What is that? Turn that off.
Okay, I'll mute. I just muted Renee because he's being too noisy. I'll bring him back when you're done talking.
Oh, sorry. You didn't mute him because I still hear him.
Oh yeah, shit, that doesn't work. He's like, it sounds like he's scraping the eggs off his plate. Like he's doing the dishes and like trying to call us at the same time.
Right,
Go ahead, Renee. Get your question in before we talk about ACL surgeries. Mr. Ortiz.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what happened to Matt? Why is the Matt and Josh Sevan podcast not happening anymore?
Say it again. Why is it not happening? So why is Matt
why
not
is
here?
y'all
Why is Matt not here?
The three amigos.
Why? I mean, I guess you're gonna have to ask Matt that. But like Matt had his reasonings, and he no longer wanted to do the podcast.
Oh, that's sucks.
All right. I bet you wanted a better answer than that, but that's what it is, really.
I didn't think I was going to get answered. I mean,
I honestly don't really know. He gave me a reason and I kind of like, it's kind of like blurry to me, but it's not even my place to say. I think I did something to offend him, but that's how I'm wired to think everything's about me.
But it probably was. So, I mean, what else would it?
Thank you, Josh.
All right. ACL surgery. No, I think it's amazing that Sarah's coming back so quick. I mean, I think that it's not unrealistic, man. I had surgery in 2012 on my left knee where I tore my ACL, PCL, MCL, and my meniscus. I fully dislocated it in 2012. In April of 2012. And then I came back and took 7th at the games the following year. So in 2013, I think with just an ACL surgery, because the only reason I even took as long as I did, well, obviously I was waiting for the season to restart, but the PCL is a lot more. They're not quite as progressive with the PCL tear when they do a replacement of it. And so, or when they fix it. And so with the ACL, man, they are very like progressive. Like you are up and they're like having you on crutches basically almost the next day and trying to actually like put a little bit of weight on it. So depending on what she did, how she had it fixed, either I don't know if it was a cadaver or if it was like a patella tendon or whatever. Yeah, like I'm not surprised at all. And plus, Sarah is a fucking go getter. I mean, she is like. I remember kind of training a little bit with her down in Cookville when she was there, and I mean, that girl doesn't stop, man, and she's a grinder, and so I'm not surprised with it at all. What happens is you just have to make sure that the graft is or whatever they use to fix it, either the tendon or the graft or a tendon or a graft, that it's fully healed and that you don't push it. It's this little not like fine line you have to ride, right? You're like, I just remember when I was coming back, it's like push, no, pull back, push. No, I got to pull back a minute, like, because you just don't want to re-rupture it, because I mean, there will be nothing worse than re-injuring something you just injured because you pushed it a little too hard, a little too quick. But the good thing for CrossFit athletes is that you have these really strong legs and like your strong quads and strong hamstrings are going to help prevent those injuries sometimes. And so at least that's what my PT and athletic trainers would tell me is, like the fact that you have these big strong quads and hamstrings, like it's going to help heal the graft faster. And so
can she ever be 100%?
100%. Yeah. She'll probably come back a little bit stronger. The only thing she'll have to do is she probably had to focus a little bit on that single leg, get some of the atrophy back, right? Like your leg, because it goes immobile for a little bit. So you're going to have a little bit of atrophy in that leg. And then you might, and then what happens is that in your head, you're a little timid at first. And so you'll start to build, like for me, I started to build bad habits because I tried to come back so quick, where I knew my leg wasn't really ready for it, but I still wanted to push it and I didn't care. So I would build these bad habits where I'd kind of lean towards my right side a little more than my left side, like on like a snatch movement. I would pull a little harder with my right leg. And so, yeah, that's the only thing is you don't want to, because in CrossFit, right, you just want to be the most efficient mover. Not allowing yourself to build those bad habits is a big thing. And, I think Sarah's going to be fine though. I think she's going to, I bet she comes out and crushes it, as long as everything is going well. And I'm sure she's doing the right things and talking to the right people and has the right people behind her and taking care of it. Like that was what I had to focus on as well as recovery after that, right? I had to make sure that I always got the swelling out of the joint afterwards. And that like I had those muscles activated, because when your muscles get so sore, like, okay, so your quad will shut off, or your hamstrings shuts off, or your glute shuts off. Right. And then your what's the word I'm looking for? That's typically where injuries happen, right? Because one muscle's not working, so another muscle's picking up for it too much, and then you get some sort of injury somewhere. So
the theme in all of that is basically when you start doing workarounds, shit goes bad.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime you're compensating, right? Compensating. So, yeah, but I have no doubt Sarah's going to go out and crush it. I don't think it's too early. I think 8 months is probably pretty fine, or a pretty good amount. I mean, look at like guys like Adrian Peterson. They came back. The guy had ACL surgery, and the next year he came back and he broke the rushing record for single season rushing yards in a season or something like that. So,
in football,
yeah, in football,
damn.
Yeah, that was quite a few years ago, but yeah, like the surgeons are so good at the ACL surgery now. It's just because it happens so often, it's so frequent. I think that's the real thing I'd like to see them go down, is actually trying to figure out why, right? Like why, what can we do to stop so many ACL tears? Because
have you ever talked to Joe Westerlin about that?
No.
We should have him on and pick his brain about it. But basically, it sounds like the conventional wisdom is that like basically most of all pain is because people start wearing shoes too early. And when you wear shoes too early, you lose ankle flexion. And when you lose ankle flexion, which makes sense because it's closest to the ground, your knees start to compensate, your hips start to compensate, your back starts to compensate. And it might seem small when you're a little kid.
Yeah.
But just years and years of just not being barefoot and losing ankle flexion. So you lose that mobility down there that basically, and that's how it seems like that's how it always works, right? Damage happens it starts at an extremity and works its way in, or vice versa, right?
Yeah, because like what we just talked about, it's compensation, right? So if my shoulder hurts, there's no doubt in my mind in 2 weeks, if I continue to do shit with it, my elbow is going to start hurting, and if I continue to do shit, my wrist is going to start hurting,
right?
Because you're just compensating, and those joints can't handle that load that the shoulder is used to taking the brunt of.
Right. So it seems and I remember Joe saying that when he was a strength and conditioning coach, I don't know if it was in Nebraska, University of Omaha, Nebraska, but basically the women's soccer team, and like they were guaranteed to get ACL injury unless you did this to them. And I forgot what the protocol was, but I've known a lot of girls who've played, Division I soccer, or a handful of them, I should say. Yeah. And all of them have had surgeries.
Oh, my sister grew up playing soccer. Okay. And she, in high school, she tore her meniscus.
Crazy.
3 or 4 times. And
a sport with 100% injury. I mean, that's nuts.
And had at least 2 ACLs as well. I can't remember the exact number, but yeah, like it was crazy. And she went to college and played for 1 year, and she ended up stopping because she was just so nervous to tear it again.
I was yesterday I was in the garage with the boys, and I had just finished working out, and I was barefoot. And so I was just all sweaty and shit, and just sitting there watching them work out and like encouraging them to do shit. And as I walked across the garage, I stubbed my toe on a gymnastics balance beam I have. And it fucking hurt so fucking bad. And I looked down at my toe, and I split my toenail from the top of the toenail all the way to the base. I cracked my toenail in half, and they were both like just flaps like this.
That's what you get for having dinosaur feet.
And so I have these 3 little boys looking at me, and I'm supposed to be their role model.
Right.
Oh my God. They're like, does that hurt? I'm like,
yeah, a little bit. Dude, that's nasty.
They're like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to get a toenail clipper and fucking chop it down, to basically chop the nail completely off.
Oh, that's crazy. See, and you split
your
toenail.
You know how they are. They love that shit. Then your boys gather around. They're like,
yeah,
can I cut your nail for you? I'm like, no.
Yes, right.
You cannot.
Yes, you can.
But you let us shave you that one time. I know this is a little different. I got a split toenail split in half, and you fucking don't know how to use clippers.
You ain't doing. And then if you have a splint, if they have a splinter and you're trying to go to get, oh my gosh, my kids, when they have splinters and I bring out a little something a little sharp to get it out, it is like I'm gonna saw their arm off. I'm like, I'm just gonna touch the skin. You're not even gonna feel it, but they freak out.
Freak out. Do your kids when they scream, they look like the Peanuts character? You know how Charlie Brown opens his mouth and it's like,
yes.
And when my kid does that, I just look at him like, oh shit, the Charlie Brown people nailed this shit.
Yes. 100%. Any cries are like that. Just big, wide mouth open, like can't talk, they can't even breathe. It's good, man. Yep.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Hey, my buddy who was this 30 years ago was going to the fire academy, and he was basically showing me propane explosions. And it was basically like it's aerial views or like security cameras of like when giant propane tanks, like at gas stations, or like when people have to go and fill up the propane tank, when those things explode, like milliseconds before they explode, if they're giant ones, they suck in so much oxygen, right, for the explosion. Mm-hmm. So there was this one explosion he showed me, and like right before it explodes, like all the trees in the area get pulled in. Like that's how much oxygen, they all get leaned in, and then kaboom, and then the whole city block is gone, right? Really? But like everything within 30 feet of the propane tank, and that's how you know how big a cry is going to be when a kid cries. Yes. Like if something happens and you haven't heard a cry immediately, you're like, they're like,
it's that like that little pause. Yeah, there's that pause before. I know, man.
They're taking in air,
and then it's just a.
Yes, explosion. And the more air the louder the scream, the more oxygen they need for the explosion.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh man.
I saw you doing hand release push-ups in one of your videos the other day.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I never do those.
Really?
Is that bad? Is it a better stimulus? Is it a different stimulus?
I think you're getting more of a pump that way, right? And so it depends on
hand release.
Yeah, hand release, because you lose that stretch reflex, right? Where it's almost like you've done deadlifts,
right?
obviously. You've done deadlifts. Have you ever done dead stop deadlifts where you reset at the bottom every time? So you get that.
Where you it's like a hand release.
I wouldn't. You don't even have to release your hands. You just have to let the weights settle, right? You can't bounce.
No, I try to bounce as hard as I can, even with 65 pounds.
You're Ryan Fisher from the 2014 regionals or
whatever it takes, buddy.
Yeah. No, it's you're not getting that little bit of stretch reflex. And so if you're deadlifting and you're going touch and go, no matter, even if you're trying not to bounce, you're still going to get a little bit of bounce if you're using rubber plates, obviously.
Well, you're definitely going to keep engaged, even if it's not a bounce of the weight. It's a bounce of your, like, what were you saying? Your stretch reflex.
Yeah, your stretch reflex, right? And so it's a little bit lighter, right? That's why the first rep is always harder, and the 2, 3, 4, 5 reps they feel a little bit easier off the ground. So that's all you're doing is you're taking that stretch reflex out, and so you're getting, it's just that initial press, the push-up. Now we're going back to hand release push-ups, talking about, right? If I have to stop and reset at the bottom, that press it's just a little more, I don't know. I get a bigger pump on my chest when I do it, and triceps.
Let me just, and I believe
look at this guy pulling this up. No big deal. Boosh.
Damn, he's yoked.
Yeah, look at that. Look how that hard bounce. And we were talking about this in the back. We're like, you can't do this. You can't. He was warming up like this, and he goes, "Oh, I'm not going to do it out there." And then he did. And then he tells the judge he's going to fucking kill him or something.
Did he win that event?
No, I don't know. No, he didn't, because the judge kept no repping him. And then that's when he got his pee-pee slapped by Dave in the back.
Oh, that's right.
And they filmed it.
You know that guy's killing it now, right?
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard he's doing really well.
Dude, nuts.
Yeah.
So I'm not arguing with you. Well, I'm kind of arguing with you. I believe you. But so my thought is, you're saying you actually feel a bigger pump, and then now you're explaining it to me. But I would think that you actually get a less of a pump by doing hand release, because there's a moment that you're taking tension off the muscle.
Go do it. Go try it.
I'm not somebody, but it does make sense to you. Okay, how about this? When you're doing bench press, you get a better pump if you don't bounce it? Like you slow it down and you barely touch your chest and go back up.
The reps are harder. The reps are harder that way. Think about that. I can get more reps if I'm touching it off my chest and going, or bouncing it off my chest, actually, which a lot, I even do when I'm doing bench press with a bar. But
especially at 10, 11, 12, as you get to higher reps, you get to
do your bench press, and where you rest it on your chest for a second, you don't bounce it off your chest, and see which way is harder. And maybe you might not get a better pump, but you're definitely getting more out of each lift. The only way, dude, my deadlift was so weak. I mean, obviously, remember, everyone knew I couldn't deadlift 405, even though I did it 13 out of the 15 reps that one year, but I couldn't deadlift it. But whatever. My deadlift wasn't strong that year. Well, I'll give anybody that. I will definitely say that. And the only way that I could get it to come up was by doing dead pulls every time. So every time I deadlifted, no matter how many reps I was doing, especially if I was going for strength training and not like an old CrossFit workout, I would do dead stop. So I would do a 5x5 at 405, but I would do it every rep. I had to settle the weight at the bottom and reset and then pull. It wasn't a long reset, but I wasn't bouncing it off the ground in any way, shape, or form. And that was how I got my deadlift, a lot stronger. Not that it was strong, but it was stronger.
It's strong. It's fucking strong. What do you think about the show? What did you think about this show? Did you like the call-ins?
I did like the call-ins. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It didn't interrupt the flow?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And then people, right now, I feel like everyone's gonna have the same question, but it's all right.
Like where's Matt?
Yeah, of course. Well, why wouldn't they? They should.
They should. Yeah. And it's good if we'll tell you. We're going to do 10 more shows together, and then we'll tell you. I have to go because I have to take my son to tennis.
Good.
Haley goes, are you going to be able to take him? I'm like, dude, let me tell you, at the 90-minute mark, Josh will just fucking end it. These shows are 90-minute.
I don't care at all, brother. I'm good. But I definitely need to go too as well. I don't have anywhere to go, but I need to go. Yeah.
So what do you think? When will we do another one? You think like in a week?
I'll do whenever you want, man.
Okay, I'll call you tonight.
I can probably, we could probably schedule one for early next week. Like Tuesday.
You just got your calendar open right there.
Yep. Yeah. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty
You're
open.
good,
I'm pretty open right now.
You're a good dude. These shows are 100% fueled
By good dudes coffee. I love
by
it.
good dudes.
Hey, you're a good dude.